Hi guys, welcome to our latest video. This time we're going to show you how to cook a cherry clafoutis, one of the classic French desserts using cherries when they're in season in summer. It's an absolute delight. Impressive, easy. The recipe is on studiokitchen.com.au. Let's get started with the cherries. Now I'm using cherries that we've preserved in a little bit of alcohol. You could use cherries in vanilla syrup. There's a recipe on Studio Kitchen. Or you could use frozen cherries, fresh cherries, or you could use tinned cherries. It's up to you really. And I'm putting about 20 to 24 into a little glass dish, adding some sugar and then pouring over some frangelico, which is a hazelnut liqueur. With this clafoutis, it's usually made with kirsch, but we're going to make frangelico because we're adding hazelnut to our batter. Now I'm taking a cast iron skillet. You could use a baking dish. You could get clafoutis baking dishes, or it could be like a pie dish. It's up to you, but I'm doing it in this cast iron skillet and everything is going to go into this one pan. And I'm taking softened butter and using a pastry brush, I'm just going to brush the insides of that pan or the dish and make sure it's liberally brushed, and then add in a little bit more sugar. And I'm going to lift the pan, swirl the sugar around until it covers the entire surface of that pan. There we go, ready to go. After the cherries have been macerating for about 15 minutes, you're going to drain them off and you're going to put those cherries into the pan. Now keep that liquid. We're going to add it into our batter, which is going to increase the flavor. Onto another flavor bomb now. This is beurre noisette or nut butter. Again, there is a recipe for this on Studio Kitchen if you want a little bit more detail. But we're gonna add butter to a pan. We're basically gonna cook it down till it goes a nice nutty color and it gives this great flavor. And when we add this to the batter, it really is just gonna accentuate that nutty flavor that we want in the batter. So just cooking it past bubbling, and then as you can see, it just starts to turn color. Careful you don't burn it, but you do want to take it a little bit further. As you can see, that's ready to go. So we're going to take it off the stove now and we're just going to strain off those kind of burnt milk solid pieces there. We don't need those in there, but we do want that nice brown nut butter. So put it to one side while we crack on with our batter. So this is simple to make. We're going to grab a bowl and we're just going to crack in some eggs, add some sugar, a pinch of salt, and we're going to add some vanilla paste. You could use the seeds of a fresh vanilla pod as well, just to get that flavor in there. It's entirely up to you. We're using vanilla paste and getting a whisk into the bowl. We're just going to give it a light mix. We're not beating too much air into this, but we're just going to give it a really good mix and just try and get some of those sugar crystals to dissolve before adding in that reserved juice from the cherries. You remember that we left it to macerate, followed by sieved plain flour. It's just going to go inside the batter as well. Give it a little bit of a mix. Try and get rid of some of those lumps. But again, we're not working this too much. We don't want a tough batter. Once you're happy all of the lumps have disappeared, then it's time to add the rest of our ingredients into it. Now this batter, as you can see, is really simple to make, so it won't take long for us to finish it off. Next, we're going to add some ground hazelnuts. That's going to give such a great flavor to this. A classic clafoutis doesn't really have nuts, but we're adding some in, and you could substitute for ground almonds if you don't have hazelnuts. Next, we're going to add in our milk. This is whole fat milk, and we're just going to add it in and give it a mix at the same time, followed by a little bit of thickened cream. I'm going to pour that in. That's going to give it a nice, rich, luxurious taste. And at the end, there's our beurre noisette. So the nut butter that we strained off, it's cooled down a little bit now as well. So that goes in at the very end. Make sure you mix it as you add it in case it congeals and solidifies. That's it. There's your batter. It looks quite loose. But we're going to let this sit now for about 15 minutes just to rest off before we add it to our pan. This is our prepared pan. We've got the fruit inside. We're just going to add all of that batter on top there. This pan is approximately 20 centimeters in diameter. It's kind of wider at the top than it is at the bottom, but that's a good amount. It's probably going to feed about 6. Once the batter is inside, you're going to pop it into the oven. The oven's been preheated, and you get that in there We're going to cook this now for about 25 minutes and then take it out. This isn't quite done yet, but what we're going to do is add a crispy element to the top of our clafoutis. So adding cold diced butter to the top and then some raw sugar just sprinkled over the top. This is going to go back into the oven and produce a really nice golden brown crispy topping to our clafoutis. So pop it back in, another 10 minutes. Now when this comes out, you're left with something that is an absolute thing of beauty. It smells incredible, smells slightly nutty, and then you get the perfume of those cherries which are kind of bubbling on the side as well. It really is sensational. Spoon some out. We love to serve this warm. You could serve it cold. You could even serve it up to a couple of days after as well. But we love this when it just comes out of the oven and it's nice and hot. Don't forget to scoop some of that fruit onto the plate as well. And you can serve this with ice cream or just a drizzle of luxurious full fat cream. Look at that, absolutely amazing. And it really is a simple dessert. It's an absolute classic from France. You can read all about the history on our recipe on studiokitchen.com.au, but give this a go and let us know how you go. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.